Welcome to Deciphering Secrets, Unlocking the Manuscripts of Medieval Spain. Hi, I'm Dr. Roger Lewis Martinez of the University of Colorado. Welcome aboard on the Revealing Cooperation and Conflict project. Let's get ready to explore a fascinating history relating to the Middle Ages, to Spain's Jewish, Muslim, and Catholic populations, and what happens during the Middle Ages in terms of cooperation and conflict. Welcome aboard. One of the best things about the Plaza Mayor is all the different activities that are going on here. Every day people are passing by, whether they're tourists or everyday Madrileños. One of the funnest things are the street performers. Earlier today we had a chance to see the Spider-Man in action. There's a matador walking around, and I think there's something else going on with bubbles. In any case, it's always fun. It's very medieval in the sense of lots of activity. No trip to Madrid is complete without a visit to El Mercado de San Miguel. It's a wonderful place of food, friends, and good company. So I say we enjoy it. Let's go visit real quickly before we head out to Plasencia. Exploring El Mercado involves all types of delicious items. One of the things I love most is the jamón serrano, as well as churros. All kinds of people are visiting when you're there. It's a great place to settle back and enjoy the end of the day. There's friendly people. There are delicious things to snack on. And it's just a lovely setting. And of course, who could do without the coffee? Well, it's time to get moving on to Plasencia. So, we're saying goodbye to Madrid, and now we're headed off there. Traveling onto Plasencia begins our process of working on the Revealing Cooperation and Conflict project, which is a geovisual and transcription effort. Our endeavor generates a 3D walkthrough model of a key portion of the walled city of Plasencia that reveals Jewish, Catholic, and Muslim interrelations. We aim to recreate the cooperative and challenging process that emerged in this era of intercultural integration and violence in Spain and Europe. Our team will populate the 3D model by transcribing and indexing census-like events from Book 1, 1399 to 1453 of the Capitular Acts of the Cathedral of Plasencia. The project assembles geovisualization experts, historians, geographers, linguists, and computer scientists in the USA, Switzerland, and Spain, as well as global citizen scholars such as yourself. Our digital world delivers a portal for the public to immerse themselves within and an open access to repository for scholars. This startup project launches our broader team effort to model issues of identity and social disruption from the 14th through 17th centuries. Our project and your efforts begin in Plasencia's Plaza Mayor. Here we see the Ayuntamiento's main building built during the 16th century. Now viewing the Ayuntamiento's building presents our first issue, which is what existed during the 15th century. And we know this building didn't exist in its exact format. So that's a key element of our efforts with you, is to understand who lived there, how did the city function, which buildings existed and which ones did not. Let's begin our walk from the Plaza Mayor down Rua or Calle de Zapateria that will take us into the old portion of the city, which was known as the Jewish Quarter. Now, why would we want to study this area? Well, primarily because as we walk into it, we realize that all kinds of individuals lived in this zone. not just Jews, but Christians as well as Muslims. So here begins our second issue, which is accurately modeling the city as it existed during the 15th century. The yellow zone you see on the map is the Juraria, and we'll be walking down Calle de Zapateria. Now technically it was the Jewish zone, as I was just mentioning, but it also included lots of different populations living in it. So that's a critical issue to figure out through the documents that we'll be describing. How is it that Jews and Christians and Muslims found themselves living amongst each other, even though there was a defined zone for Christians, a defined zone for Jews, and a defined zone for Muslims? This brings us to some of the unique influences of Plasencia and why we want to study it. First of all, Plasencia matters because it was the core of important developments in the late medieval and early modern world. For example, the leaders from this city secured King Ferdinand and Queen Isabel's most important title, the Catholic monarchs, from the papacy. These same leaders were also responsible for securing the papal bulls that gave the Americas to Spain. Thus, Plasencia occupies a special place inside of early modern history in Europe and the Americas. That's why we want to study cooperation and conflict, because they were a part of daily life here in the city, and that influenced the leaders that came from the zone. Now, we would be remiss to not note that in 1492, Jews were expelled from Spain, and in 1502, Muslims were expelled from Spain. For this reason, our project focuses on the 15th century initially, so we can investigate these interfaith and inter-economic alliances that existed during this time period. Another issue we will focus on is one of relating to overlapping structures of political authority and governance. That is, although the municipal government had its own authority, so did the church as well as regional lords. And those overlapping jurisdictions created very interesting situations. Another key issue was the issue of diversified natural resources, and we know that those range from vineyards and to mining, and those shaped all kinds of economic trade, as well as formed and shaped identities in this area, often challenging traditional Catholic, Jewish, and Muslim roles in society. So these are the key issues we want to investigate through the project. Now, to investigate them is one thing, but to visualize them and see them is an entirely different issue. And to bring the world to life, we are using our documents to transcribe new information out of them, these actas capitulares or capitulary acts, and we're harvesting information out of them so we can populate this world and start to create imagery of who was living where, what they were doing, and who they interacted with. We've now reached the end of Calle de Zapateria and are entering the Plaza de San Nicolas, a critical zone in medieval Plasencia. This initial startup phase of the project involves modeling the Plaza de San Nicolas with its church, the synagogue, and the palace of the Estuniga family. We are now visiting the plaza quite late at night. The city is quiet, there are few people around, and we can now start to contemplate, what did the city feel like? What did it sound like during this medieval period? We'll want to get rid of electricity. We'll want to get rid of cars and signage. We want to create a world that is authentic. In this contemporary view of the Plaza San Nicolas, we see the Palace of the Mirabeles, the Calle de Zapateria, the Church of San Nicolas, an older structure that may have been related to the Jewish Brotherhood, and the former location of the synagogue. In order to capture a more realistic view of this period, we have to do some additions and subtractions from the environment, namely, recreating the facade of the Palace of the Mirabeles as it appeared, reducing buildings to their proper size for the time period, and restoring the Church of San Nicolas to its former glory, and perhaps most important, recreating the synagogue. As the structure no longer exists, we've borrowed elements from other synagogues from the period, namely those from Avila, Toledo, and Cordoba, to generate this new vision By combining all of these elements and all of this information, we can recreate Plasencia as it appeared in the 1400s and view how Catholics, Muslims, and Jews all lived together, sometimes in peace, sometimes in conflict. And this world will come to life with the documents that you're transcribing, where we'll be able to record names, places, and events that occurred. In addition to our Coursera website, we also have the Revealing Cooperation and Conflict website, where you can check on the latest developments, as well as join our online community on Facebook, where you can visit with other members of the transcription team and other students and follow the latest developments on our development of virtual Plasencia. Thanks for your help.